All right, so for a lot of modern parents, there's this new three-letter word that's causing way more anxiety than pretty much anything else. And no, it's not sex, it's God. And today we're going to dive into how you can navigate that conversation with your kids, especially if you, yourself, aren't religious. So picture this. You're driving home from preschool, everything's normal, and then your 5-year-old just drops this absolute bombshell from the back seat. This is exactly what happened to author Wendy Thomas Russell. I mean, just a totally normal day, suddenly flipped on its head by this one little sentence from her daughter Maxine.
And really, this perfectly captures the central problem, doesn't it? You know, for our parents' generation, the big, awkward conversation was always the talk about sex. But today, for a growing number of secular parents, that anxiety has totally shifted. The new taboo, the thing we're often least prepared for, is religion.
And the author's honesty about this is just, it's so raw. She didn't feel enlightened or curious at all. No, she felt completely ambushed. Her heart started racing, her mind went totally blank. She was just completely stumped because, well, thanks to some cute boy at school, her daughter got the God talk in before she did. But here's the thing, this feeling of panic, it's not just one mom's story. Not at all. It's actually a reflection of this massive cultural shift that's happening all across America. We've got more and more parents raising their kids completely outside of traditional religious frameworks, and that's creating a whole new playbook of parenting challenges.
And the data? Oh yeah, it backs us up in a huge way. I mean, today, a full 20% of the US population, we're talking 60 million people, don't affiliate with any religion. Now to put that into perspective for you, back in 1990, that number was just 8%. That is a massive and really rapid transformation. So this group grew so quickly that researchers literally had to give it a name. They're called the nuns, which is, simple shorthand for people who, when they're filling out a survey, check the box for none of the above. It kind of started as a little inside joke for researchers, but the name totally stuck because the demographic shift was just, well, it was that significant.
And it's really important to understand. The knowns are not a monolith, not even close. This is a hugely diverse group of people. We're talking everyone from staunch atheists and agnostics to humanists, skeptics, spiritualists, even people who are just kind of searching for what makes sense to them. Really, the only thing they all have in common is that they just don't fit neatly into a traditional religious box.
So, for parents who fall into this group, it can really feel like you've been dropped into completely uncharted territory, right? Your own parents probably had some kind of religious roadmap to follow, but for you, it's like the Wild West. You're basically making up the map as you go. And that, let me tell you, can be incredibly daunting.
So, with all this uncertainty floating around, it's pretty easy to make a misstep, right? And the research actually shows there is one specific mistake that secular parents make more often than any other when it comes to religion. Any guesses what it is? Absolute silence. The single biggest mistake is simply not talking about it at all. A huge number of non-religious parents, when they're faced with the topic of religion, they ignore it. They just don't go there. And here's exactly why that silence is so counterproductive. Parenting expert Dale McGowan, he points out that when you make a topic taboo, you don't just make it disappear. You actually make it more alluring. It becomes this forbidden fruit, right? This mysterious thing that kind of freaks mom and dad out, which of course can make some kids want to explore it even more. Okay, so if silence is the problem, what's the solution? Well, it begins with this really fundamental shift in your entire approach. It's about moving from a mindset of crisis to a mindset of curiosity. It starts by just taking a deep breath and realizing, hey, relax. It's just God. It's just a conversation, not a catastrophe. And this was the author's own personal wake-up call. After that crazy moment in the car, she breathlessly tells her husband what happened. And his response just cut right through all her anxiety. He said, it's not what she believes, but what she does in life that matters. And that's the whole point, right? The focus should be on character, not on dogma. So that shift in perspective, it opens up a whole new path forward. It's a clear strategy, really, built on 4 key pillars. Okay, number 1, use a simple, neutral tone. 2, be honest about what you believe. 3, actively encourage their questions. And 4, and this last one is a big one, give them a genuine choice. All right, so let's dig into that first one. It's all about your attitude. Your goal here is not to win a debate or prove a point. Nope. It's to be an interested observer of your child's curiosity. You just present information in a really straightforward, kind of dispassionate way, and then you let them decide what to do with it.
Now, that second point about being honest with your own views, that is absolutely vital. See, when you openly say something like, I don't believe in God, or maybe, I'm not really sure, you're not indoctrinating them. What you're doing is you're modeling that there's no shame in what a person believes, and that your family is a safe place to talk about even the toughest subjects. Okay, but this is where it can get kind of tricky for a lot of parents, right? I mean, giving them a choice sounds great in theory, but what if they choose something you fundamentally disagree with? What if your super science-minded kid suddenly decides they want to join a fundamentalist church? Do you really have to be okay with that?
Well, to answer that very question, let's look at a real-life story from the book. It's about a mom named Lauren who faced this exact dilemma, and her response is just such a powerful example of these principles in action.
So the story starts simply enough. Lauren is a non-religious mom. Her 5-year-old son, Justin, makes a new friend in his swim class, and this new friend invites him to her church's vacation Bible school. And of course, Justin is desperate to go.
But here's the catch. Lauren and Justin arrive, and they pretty quickly realize this isn't just any church. It's a Chinese Baptist church. And Lauren's family, as you might have guessed, is neither Chinese nor Baptist. But before she can even really process what's happening, Justin is happily whisked away to his first activity.
And Justin didn't just like it, he absolutely loved it. He was completely captivated, so much so that after Bible school was over, he insisted that the entire family start attending the church's Sunday services and luncheons every single Sunday. And Lauren and her husband, even though the sermons were sometimes in Mandarin, they did it. They just showed up for him.
So when the author heard this story, her reaction was just immediate and from the heart. She looked right at Lauren and said, "You are the coolest mom ever." Because that, right there, is what unconditional support looks like. It's not about what's convenient or comfortable for you, it's about honoring your child's journey, wherever it takes.
And this really gets to the core takeaway of this whole thing. Parenting isn't about creating a little carbon copy of yourself. The goal is not to raise a mini-me. It's about raising a person who is kind, compassionate, open-minded, and truly happy in their own skin, no matter what path they end up choosing.
Because, look, sooner or later, your child is going to be the one to pipe up from the back seat with a big question about God or life or death. These conversations, they are inevitable. They are going to happen. So the only real question left is, will you be ready? Will you be ready to meet their curiosity with confidence instead of with anxiety?